I want to kick things off by expressing that I'm a 19-year-old guy, and the incident occurred on Christmas of 2020. Just to give you a quick rundown, I reside in a city situated on the southern border of Texas and Mexico. Around here, there's hardly anything to do aside from cruising around with music blaring. In our city, there's an abandoned hospital that I had never ventured into. Despite my fear of ghosts, I've always found the idea of unseen but palpable forms of life intriguing. On the night of December 25th, 2020, Christmas night, myself and two buddies, whom I'll refer to as P and L, decided to explore the infamous abandoned hospital. Yes, quite the choice for a visit on a potentially haunted building. The late hour, the darkness outside, and the unknown lurking within had us all a bit on edge. Questions raced through our minds. Were there homeless people inside, ready to confront us? What could an average guy and two girls really do in such a situation? Anyway, after some time spent parked outside, P suggested we just go in. The darkness was intensifying, and it was now or never. Overcoming our hesitations, we approached the fence, which had a tear in its corner for entry. Suddenly, three teenage boys emerged from the fence. Now, this is the southern part of my city, often considered rough, where most of the city's crime tends to unfold. We debated whether to approach them, unsure of their intentions or if they carried any weapons. They spotted us and shouted, "Hey, y'all coming in here?" My response was, yeah, we are." "Why? Is something wrong?" The oldest looking one assured us, "No, we just came from there. It's pretty much the same as always. We could show you around if you guys want. We know our way well and even play hide and seek in there sometimes." I couldn't fully trust these guys, considering I had no clue who they were, yet their presence weirdly made me feel safer. If anything were to happen, at least we'd be a group of 6. "So, do you want us to show you around, or do you want to go in alone?" he asked. Reluctantly, we agreed, given our unfamiliarity with the place, potential to get lost, and the feeble light from our phone flashlights. The trio seemed ordinary, chatting with us as friends, sharing tales about the peculiar hospital as we explored its various corners. Eventually, we reached the basement, which turned out to be the morgue. It was noticeably colder than the rest of the hospital, despite the fact that my city rarely experiences cold weather. I was in shorts and a short-sleeved shirt, given the usual 80 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. Yet entering the morgue sent shivers down my spine, prompting a strong urge to leave. I know this may sound cliché, but I assure you it's not fabricated. After leaving the morgue, we continued our exploration, hoping to find something intriguing. From old medical files to cabinets stocked with outdated medication and surgical tools, we discovered relics from the past. The 5th floor, dedicated to pediatrics, was our next destination. Ascending the stairs, I felt a sudden cold gust of wind that initially alarmed me. However, I realized it was due to a broken window, allowing a breeze to enter. The journey continued, with my friend D clinging to me for dear life, while friend P engaged in conversation with our newfound companions. Suddenly, Ellen exclaimed, "Did you hear that?" dismissing it as an attempt to scare me. I said, "Elle, shut up." But then she insisted, "No, I'm serious. Listen." I strained my ears, and indeed, there was a faint thud. I pointed my phone flashlight in that direction, only to be met with silence. Elle asserted, "There's someone there." Confused, I asked, "What?" The 3 guys and I all sprinted from the other end of the hallway, shouting that someone was there. In utter silence, we stood for about 15 seconds, uncertain of where to run or how to avoid getting caught trespassing. Suddenly, the doors to patients' rooms began slamming one by one. We raced down the stairs and bolted out of the building, P and L to my car, and the 3 guys to wherever they came from. In my car, we sat in stunned silence, grappling with the reality of what had just transpired. I couldn't bring myself to start the car immediately. Was it a figment of our imagination? It couldn't be. We all witnessed the same events. Snapping out of it, I started the car, sped away, and we drove home in silence. I dropped them off, and we never spoke about it again. It was an unprecedented experience, and it hasn't repeated since that fateful day. Story 2. As a kid, I never really embraced the concept of psychic premonitions. Though I'm quite superstitious, I do hold a belief in the divide between our world and the next. I also believe that our ancestors linger with us, guiding and observing. Perhaps this story is the reason behind my steadfast conviction in that belief. I hail from Sagola, Michigan. My older brother Kino and I migrated to San Antonio when he was 6, and I was 4. The reason was my mom's father passing away, prompting her desire to be with family. Details from that time are hazy, given my small size and limited recollections. Being on the spectrum, my memories from that young age are triggered by sensory input. We resided with my great-grandmother in a house that resembled 2 joined structures connected by a long, narrow hallway. The house had 3 entrances, one to the side leading to my great-grandparents' spacious room with an attached bathroom, another to the living room, dining room, and kitchen, and a third opening to a narrow hallway. This hallway housed 2 bedrooms facing each other and led to another large room. Towards the back of this room, there was a second restroom and a door leading to another decently sized bedroom. At the time, my mom, Tia, uncle, his wife, and 2 boys shared the house. My grandmother occupied one of the narrow hallway rooms. Tia was in the room opposite, and my mom, brother, cousins, and I slept in the decently sized room accessed through the third entrance. On Christmas Eve, when I was about 5 or 6, I felt a presence in the room. As I lay next to my brother, I sensed someone entering through the curtain-covered entrance to the narrow hallway. Initially dismissing it, I felt a warm hand gently stroking my hair. Mia spoke an unfamiliar accented voice. Surprisingly unafraid, I opened my eyes to see my Grandpa Santos Jr., though his face remained indistinct. His tall figure against the shadow revealed a white shirt. "Merry Christmas, Mia," he greeted. I lay still, arms open, and he hugged me, saying, "Merry Christmas, Grandpa." He reached for my hand, but I felt no touch. He gestured towards the curtain entrance and beckoned me to follow. I got out of bed, chasing him down the hallway. There, I saw a grand Christmas tree and presents scattered around. In front of them, a pink bike with ribbons. My bike. Joyously, I cried out. I woke up to my brother urging me, "Wake up, Anna. It's Christmas." The dream forgotten, I joined him down the hall, and there, I witnessed the magical reality of a huge Christmas tree surrounded by presents, and just as in my dream, a pink bike with ribbons on the handlebars. I exclaimed, "My bike." Reflecting on it now, I'm uncertain what to make of it. Even today, I see it as my grandpa's Christmas wish. I've had a few more dreams like this in my life, though I'm not claiming any psychic abilities. It's just part of being autistic. Story 3. I would like to start off by saying that this is from my dad's personal experience. It was around Christmas time, and my parents were out celebrating. My parents had left my brother, who was 16, and my sister, who was 15, in charge of me. My oldest brother, who was 18, had moved out, and my youngest sister, who was 7 years old, was gone for a sleepover. So it was just the 3 of us at home. My siblings decided to invite over some friends since my parents would be gone pretty late, and I decided to go next door to play with my cousin. My siblings decided to do a seance, and if you're not sure what it is, it's basically a game to communicate with the dead. My siblings and their friends tried to communicate with a young girl who had been raped and murdered, and a boy who was in cadets that died from an illness. Apparently, nothing really happened when they tried to communicate with the girl, but when they summoned the boy, that's when things started happening. They said they heard footsteps start from my bedroom, stomp down the hallway past them, and then disappear in the corner of our living room. That spooked them, and they decided to quit. That's when scarier things started happening to my dad, and he doesn't really believe in paranormal stuff or ghosts. One morning, he was up getting ready for work, and everyone else was in bed sleeping. My dad sat at our table across from the hallway, rolling cigarettes for work, when he realized he saw a shadow appear from my bedroom, then disappear into the bathroom. He didn't think too much of it, and thought it was just his mind playing tricks. But then, something even scarier happened to him a few nights later. He was really tired from work that day, so he decided to go to bed a little earlier that night. He had one of those digital radio clocks that shine red. My dad said that he started falling asleep when all of a sudden, he had a feeling that he was being watched. He opened his eyes and saw 2 red dots by the closet. He figured it was just the light coming from his clock, and he said he decided to turn on his opposite side, but he couldn't shake the feeling like he was being watched. So he turned back over to the other side again and got the fright of his life that he'll never forget. There in front of his face was a creepy smiling face with red eyes just staring right at him. I don't know how that didn't scar him for life. What topped everything off, and how we found out about the seance, is my mom got a new lamp and decided to put it in the corner where the spirit disappeared. The lamp would flicker on and off all the time. My siblings decided to come clean, and that's when my dad told everyone what happened to him. It gets even worse. One of our family cats died in the exact same room. My mom told me that he choked on something, but I honestly believe it was something else that happened to him. Poor little guy. Oh, and in case you guys are wondering what happened to that house, my dad inherited a house from his parents, so my childhood home is almost torn down. It still creeps me out to this day, knowing that there were spirits in my childhood home, and I always wonder where they'll go when it's all gone. Will they follow us to the new home? I really hope not. When I was a kid, about 8 or 9, I lived in a house that was about 50 years old. The house was a bit worn down, but my dad, for the most part, remodeled the entire thing. Everything was normal, besides the fact that I was never able to sleep there to begin with. I never wanted to move there. It just felt uneasy to me. After about 1 month of living there, everything just started to get weird. It was around Christmas, and my mom and I were sitting in the living room watching TV, watching some Christmas movie. All of a sudden, one of the candy canes on the tree flew across the room so hard that the candy cane actually shattered. Also, it wasn't one of those cheap candy canes either. It was a very hard candy cane, one that was really hard to eat. Almost 10 minutes after that, we had a wreath above our kitchen nook, and all the ornaments fell down at exactly the same time. None of them broke because they're plastic, but still, it was really scary. More things like this happened often. One of the ones that scared me the most was when one day, when me and my brother were getting ready for bed, my brother was taking out the trash, and I was getting ready to brush my teeth and go to the bathroom. I had just gotten into the bathroom. My brother had just closed the door to go outside when all of a sudden, the door just started shaking. I then heard a very low growling sound. I have seen and heard multiple animals all throughout my life, and I'd never heard something that sounded like that. It was terrifying. Also, the growling didn't stop until my brother had gotten back into the house, and all of a sudden, it just completely stopped. I had immediately run outside to my mom because it was terrifying. More stuff like that started to happen. I also saw a little girl in the hallway, and I would see dark, shadowy figures inside my room. This went on for a long time, and my mom would always say that there was nothing in the house and it was completely fine. But myself and my older brother knew that something was wrong. Even my cousin was never able to sleep there. She said that she would see and hear things, but my mom would always say that there was nothing wrong. We moved out of that house after about 5 years of living there, and almost right after we moved, my mom had told me that that house was 100% haunted. But she just never wanted to tell us anything because she knew it scared us. Even thinking about and seeing pictures of that house brings back all the bad memories. Sometimes I think I can still see the shadows, but it's just my mind playing tricks on me. But it really was terrifying living in that house. I don't think I'll ever be able to forget it. Hey everyone, I hope you all enjoyed these stories. If you ever want to submit your own, you can do so at southernchannel.com. Have a good night, everyone, and remember to always stay hungry.